educational plan, and then you guys will receive credit for completing the orientation. Both the orientation, your assessment, and your ed plan are good for you to be able to register at any of the 3 community colleges, so Oxnard, Moore Park, and Ventura, of course, you can come to Oxnard, but just know that that is good for you guys for any of the 3 campuses, okay? So we're gonna begin by introducing ourselves. My name is Kema Sanchez. I am a part-time counselor here at Oxnard College.
Hi everyone, I'm Gloria Lopez, and the UPS counselor here at Oxnard College.
So Ms. Gloria is gonna start by just giving you guys information about some really cool and awesome programs that we have at Oxnard College that we wanna make sure you guys are aware so you guys can take advantage right as you begin your career at Oxnard, okay?
Thank you, Helen. First of all, gosh, you guys, thank you so much for being here on a Monday on your day off. I congratulate you for that. In front of you, you have this course recommendation form, and you will have other counselors coming in to also help you, sort of guide you through and help you figure out classes for summer or for fall. But what I'm here for is to share with you a little bit more about the program that I work for, EOPS, Extended Opportunity Program and Services. Actually, there's a flyer inside your folder. It sort of has this bright yellow and bright blue little boxes. If you pull that out, that will help you to understand a little bit more about the program. We've been in existence for many, many, many years. You know, there's 113 community colleges in
So
California.
it's in the, you're right in the,
Yeah, and every community college has this program. The way it works is that when you apply for financial aid, many of you automatically are applying for the BOG fee waiver. This is what pays your tuition and fees. So when you take a look at our flyer, it says to be eligible for the program, you have to have had either a BOG A or a BOG B. We also, there's 3 types, okay, A, B, and C. We also look at the C, but usually we will only bring in the ones that have the BOG A and BOG B. Bottom line, it's based on your income, your parents' income, and size of family. That's what determines the BOG fee waiver. So how many of you did the FAFSA? Have already filled out FAFSA? Okay. So you still need to do that or do the BOG fee waiver in order for you to find out which one you qualify for. You gotta do this before you actually register for classes because you don't want to be charged. Because I think you only have, what, 24 hours to?
7 days.
Oh,
7 days prior
extended.
to the semester, you'll have time to pay for your classes, for your fees. And then, so basically we give you a week. So if you register today, we give you till next Monday to pay for your classes. And if you don't, we drop you. So you basically are no longer registering your classes. Once the semester begins, it's only 24 hours. So it's the same day.
I just learned something new. Thank you, Helen. Okay, so EOPS. You can start our program in the summer or you can start our program in the fall. If you have plans to start in the summer, we use the word units instead of the word credits. So if you enroll in 4 units, that could be 2 classes, it could be like a 3-unit course with a 1-unit PE class. We offer personal growth classes. What I would really encourage you for this summer, and maybe I should ask, how many of you are considering summer school? Okay, maybe, okay, just one. I get it, guys. I know you want to give yourself a mental break, and I totally support that. But let me share with you as to what we're going to offer this summer. We're working very closely with the math department, and we came up with, or the math department came up with these math classes. They're only for 1 to 2 units. So if you tested into Math 1, and we're going to look at your high school transcripts today to determine if it's that, even though you tested into Math 1, by looking at your transcripts, you're already at Algebra 2 or pre-calculus and you have A's and B's, we have the authority to be able to clear you in order for you to go into a higher level of math. We call it multiple measures, okay? But let's say we look at your transcripts and they're like, I think you better stay at Math 1. You can challenge that Math 1. You can challenge Math 14, Math 11, which are our elementary algebra, intermediate algebra courses. But the way it works is that you would have to enroll in this math class in the summer. So the instructors It's like a one-on-one type of tutoring that you're gonna get, because the instructor's goal is to really help you just refresh your math skills, so that either you'll be taking the assessment and placing yourself out of that level into a higher level. If you were to take this math class in the summer, along with a personal growth class that we teach here for 1 unit, I myself and 2 other counselors will be teaching these courses in the summer, we will, and if you qualify for EOPS, we will give you a $100 grant when classes start in the fall, on top of everything else you may qualify for in financial aid. Young men that are here, we offer a program called Omega, and that program is also connected to our EOPS program. Because you're a male student, you automatically qualify. If you enroll full-time, that's 12 units. Keep in mind, 12 units could be 3 to 4 classes. You'll see in the presentation, the orientation, you'll see a schedule, a full-time schedule of what it looks like to be enrolled in 3 to 4 classes. Understand, you're not in school every day. You could be in classes only Monday and Wednesdays and have Tuesday and Thursdays off. That doesn't mean you go home and you know, hang out and watch TV all day. Now you gotta learn how to manage your time, right? If I don't have class, then should I be in my room hanging out, listening to music, trying to study, or should I be in the library where I can get tutoring, be around other people to motivate me? College is going to be very different for you. It's okay to be scared, it's okay to feel all of that, but you're starting brand new. Remember that. Whatever you've done in high school, great. You're graduating June 17th. Now you're starting a whole brand new program here, so that when you transfer out to a university, guess what? They're not going to admit you based on what you did in high school. They're going to look based on what you did here. Isn't that wonderful? So you're being given that second chance. For some of you that may have struggled in high school, right? At least I was very thankful. Very, very thankful. So, EOPS, once you come into our program, what makes us unique is that you have to see us 3 times per semester. You get to register early. Right now, if you qualify for our program for the summer, you get to register with us in mid-April, okay? That means that our continuing students right now that are in our program, they'll register April the 4th for summer. You will never have the problems of closed classes being put on the wait list. So that's like the #1 service. Actually, #1 service is the counseling. As an academic counselor, I really believe that we get to know you well enough to help you balance your schedule, to make sure that you can come to us if you're struggling in your classes, because we do a lot of referral out, into our campus here. There's a lot of services here available to you for free, as a matter of fact. So, EOPS, once you're in, you're pretty much in our program for 3 years. Please know that average time at a community college is not 2 years, guys. It's like 3 years, and I'll tell you why. The universities, they want you to have all of your major preparation courses completed here, in addition to your general ed. Better for you because it's less expensive, you're taking care of business, so that when you do transfer out, you're done in 2 years, maybe 2.5 at the most at the university in order to obtain your bachelor's degree. So you're not wasting your time. Some of you may struggle with your reading skills. Take a reading class. If you tested into 101, we're going to look at the scores, right, Emma?
Yes.
Because if you barely tested into English 101, and then I look at your high school transcript, I may suggest, you know what, why don't we start your intermediate English and then move you into 101? Whatever it takes to help you work on your foundation, make it stronger, make you a better student, and have you succeed, that's what we're going to do to help you by suggesting these type of courses for you, okay? What is your name? Raina?
Right.
Miranda. How come? I feel like I know you.
Yeah. We have relatives that are from,
Oh,
and not only that,
oh, yes. Do you mind if I ask you? You got a baby, right? A boy or girl? Oh, I remember now. Yes, I'm so happy to have you here. So, nursing, Miranda wants to go into nursing, right? But there's this list of preparation courses, we use the word prerequisites, that you must complete before you even apply to the nursing program. I think you're referring to Pastor Fern's daughter's, what's her name? No, that's my niece. Destiny. She's in some type of program. She's a certified nurse assistant, like Lena. Sorry guys, side talk over here. But that's what you're thinking of that program. When you said nursing, that's a little bit different, okay? So, any questions, guys, in regards to what I've said? So, let me just end it by saying, if you're interested in applying to our program, once you find out which block fee waiver you have received for fall, if you are planning to go to summer school, you have to apply to the college again for summer and do the block fee waiver for summer or the FAFSA for summer, okay? So that's like extra. But once you find out through financial aid, can you guys tell me which block fee waiver I qualify for? They tell you A or B. Think of Gloria. We're in the student service building upstairs, the OPS. Go in there. I'm here to apply to the program. You fill out the application and you turn it in. We'll hold on to it because we won't contact you until after you're done with high school, okay? After June 20th. Because that's actually when we're going to start registering our students for fall. Okay, so perfect timing for you. Okay. Anything else? Brandon, we're okay?
So in the block.
The log?
Or the block, when you, apply for the password,
It automatically will tell you that you will actually get the block fee waiver through the FAFSA. But it's always good to find out from financial aid which one you got, right? Just if there's anyone else in here that may be a mommy, we do have a care program, which is under EOPS. So I'm not sure if it's that, if you're receiving cash aid, if you're a single head of household, that there is a CalWorks program here, and you will receive so much more services. Make sure you and I talk later on, okay? Call me. Because I want to make sure that you get everything so that it helps you stay here, right? Because that's what we need. That money that's coming in will also help with childcare. Buy all your books, get a meal ticket, get a gas card or a bus token. Now, guys, don't get all in your mind thinking, oh, maybe I should have a kid. But I mean, it's because we know that our parents, they struggle a lot more than the one that's single that doesn't have kids, right? You gotta have that balancing act, okay? You guys, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope to see you soon. And if you qualify for EOPS, just make sure to go upstairs and apply, and then we'll be contacting you soon, okay? Thank you so much. You're welcome.
If you feel like you would qualify for the program, just as long as you know what type of fee waiver you're receiving, and you can ask that at the financial aid office, which is that counter where you guys were checking in the morning, they can tell you. In the office for EOPS is just directly up the stairs to your right all the way to the end. Or you guys can just simply say like, where do I go to apply for EOPS? And our student workers are really great about directing you to where to go, who to talk to, and they'll make you an appointment if you need more clarification for any services, okay? So now we're gonna switch gears a little bit because we're actually gonna go over some information that we feel is very critical for you guys to know as you're starting your career in college. And we're really hoping that you will start your career here at Oxnard College because all of this stuff is gonna be applicable. But whether you decide to start here or if you end up going to private school in Ventura, or if you go over to Moore Park, a lot of this information is the same. It's just some of the terminology or some of the numbering may be different, but you're exactly expected to know all this information as you begin your college career, okay? So this is what we're gonna go over today as a group. And throughout the presentation, if you guys do have any questions, please go ahead and stop me and ask at that point, because that's the whole point of us having is to make sure you guys understand what you're gonna be doing next. So you can just click enter too. So we're gonna learn about the importance of priority registration. Assessment scores, we're gonna review your assessment scores, and all of you guys did your assessment, right? Perfect. We're gonna look at your educational options at Oxnard College, understanding your course load, so basically, how many units is a good idea for us to have you sign up on your first semester, depending on the responsibilities that you guys have. The importance of good academic standing and academic probation, what that means, other campus resources besides EOPS, and what you're gonna be doing next. So what are gonna be your next steps, okay? So first and foremost, why are we asking you to do this? Because as new students, we want you guys to be able to receive priority registration. So priority registration, what it is this fall of 2014, the Chancellor's Office, which is basically the supervising board of all community colleges, has asked that all new students or returning students, the returning student basically means a student who maybe came to Oxnard College but has not been attending for the last year, that in order for them to receive priority registration, meaning we're not going to kick you to the end of the line, that you complete assessment in English and math, complete it either in-person or an online orientation, and that you meet with the counselor to do an abbreviated and a comprehensive educational plan. An abbreviated plan is just something that's 1 or 2 semesters, which is what we're going to be doing today. The comprehensive plan, you guys have to make sure you meet with the counselor during an appointment time during your first semester. For all of you guys, we want you to do it during the fall semester. So during the fall, I want you to make sure that you make an appointment with the counselor during the month of either October or very early November to meet with the counselor, and this is where you will meet with whomever you want, because unlike high school, you guys will not have an assigned counselor here. You can see whomever you want, either based on your major, based on the fact that you really like how they explain things, or you feel like you have a connection, or if you belong to EOPS and you will meet with an EOPS counselor. And what we're going to do during your session in the first semester is we're going to discuss what are your career plans, what are the obligations or responsibilities you have going on, your plans, whether you plan to transfer, get an associate, I'm unsure, I don't know really what I'm doing yet, and we will go ahead and develop a plan. So we're going to give you a roadmap, basically saying this is where you're at right now during the fall, this is how long it's going to take you to transfer, this is how long it's going to take you to get your associate, or this is how long it's going to take you to get a certificate, or this is how long it's going to take you to transfer to Ventura College to be able to apply for the nursing program. So those are things that we will discuss. So by the time that you leave that first session, that time that you're going to see us in the fall, your appointment time, you should know how long it's going to take you, what classes you should take, and in what order you should take them. That doesn't mean that that's the only time we want you to go ahead and come see us. We want you to come see us every single semester, but we want you to always come in with an appointment. We don't do appointments during the very beginning of the semester and towards the end. During beginning and end, everything is on a walk-in basis. And when you're doing the walk-in basis, you can expect to wait anywhere from 2 hours to 5 hours. Because there's only a few of us. And there's a lot of students on campus, and they all happen to come in at the same time. So do not be that student that's waiting there for like 5 hours to see us when you could have just come in during an appointment time that works for you with the counselor that you want to see and get all your questions answered, okay? And the biggest thing is we want you to get the priority so that you're not the last students in line to register. As a student with priority registration, because it seems like most of you guys are starting in fall, you guys will be able to register for classes July 11th. If you do not have priority registration, you will not be able to register for classes until the first week of August. That's almost a month difference. And what do you guys think is going to happen?
The classes you want to get filled up?
The classes you want are already going to be full. The quote-unquote the teachers are going to be taken. And the times that you want for coming into class may already be closed. as well, so they may not be available. So you want to make sure that you get that priority registration. And if you've already done your assessment, right now you guys will get credit for the orientation and you guys will get credit for the counseling. So if you did your assessment, then you should be able to receive July 11th as your appointment date, okay? So your assessment scores. So let me have you guys put your assessment scores right next to you, because this is the part that's typically the most interesting during the whole orientation. So you should have received like a little packet with your assessment scores highlighted. They also circle on that chart that looks just like this to see where you placed. So I want you to go ahead and find your English placement. And if you need help, let me know. So you guys know your English placement? So this is the right one, and this is the left. And then your math will be at the bottom. And then again, you got perfect. So you want to take that out as well. And then writing and reading, and then your math is going to be on the back. Perfect. Writing, reading, same thing. Your writing is on the top, the reading is on the bottom. Do you guys all know where you have it? Perfect. So let's go over your reading first, which is the row at the bottom. Reading is not a required subject for you guys to take. It's not required as an elective. It's not required for a graduation. And it's not required for a transfer. So why do we ask you to take a reading exam? We ask you to take a reading exam because in college, every single class that you take is going to require you to have a heavy amount of reading. If you want to make sure that you do well in reading, that when you read the material, you're actually understanding what you're reading, and that you're not reading, and if I ask you 2 seconds later what you just read, you're like, I have no idea. I just read it as fast as I could, but I have no idea what I just read. Which, a lot of us do that in high school. We're like supposed to read 30 pages, we'll read them, and then we have to make a summary, and then we keep going through the pages back to try to do our summary, right? So you want to make sure you understand what you're reading. So depending on your placement, when we do individual recommendations for courses during the counseling portion, we may or may not recommend a reading course for you. So do not get sad if we do not give you a reading class. Because I did have a couple of students last week that were like, but I have a reading score. Why am I not getting a reading class? So it may be for that. The one that we want to pay closely attention is going to be your writing. Your writing score basically is going to allow us to figure out what other classes besides your English writing course we're going to recommend based on the level that you're placed in right now. So if you're a college freshman starting your career at Oxnard College, you should be placing in English 101, the college composition class. If you're in English 101, perfect. This is where you want to be. This is where, as a freshman in college, you want to start your career with English 101. It is also a class that is required if you are thinking or planning to get your associate's degree, or you are planning to transfer to a university. How many of you guys are planning to transfer? All hands go up, right? So if you are planning to transfer, English 101 definitely is a class that we're going to ask that you complete, and then you are going to take another class. Typically it's English 102, but it may not be English 102 for every single major. Some majors, for example, like some engineering students prefer to take philosophy 111 rather than English 102 because they don't like writing as much. And philosophy is a little bit different. It's a little bit more critical thinking. So it will depend as well on other choices that you can take for your transferable English class. Okay? Now, if you placed in anything below English 101, these are called developmental English classes. These are not bad placement classes. What these classes do, English 96, 68, and 66, is they help you build your skills so that you can be ready to be at the college level for English 101. They basically will walk you through how to write a research paper, how to do citations, because they will come up in every single class that requires English 101, and they will help you build your skills in your writing and your skills in writing papers. Because every class that you take here at Oxnard College, some of these classes are gonna ask you to write pages like papers that are gonna be 5 to 7 pages. Some of them are gonna ask you to do 10 to 12. How many of you guys can easily write 10 to 12 pages? Not many, right? Because it's a lot. It's like, what do you write in 10 pages? So all of these classes help you do that. And when you're in English 101, they just keep strengthening your skills because you will do a long paper in English 101. Okay? Questions on your English placement? No? Okay.
So you take, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you take more than 2?
You will take more than 2 writing classes if you're planning to transfer. If you're not planning to transfer, let's say I only want to get my associate's degree, then you only have to get to English 101.
What
Did-
if you are-
If you're already in English 101, then you only need to take English 101 at that time. So let's go to your math. So the math is usually the one that's the funnest to explain. Who did not place in transitional math R001? Like you did not place it. You were either in math 14, math 11, or you don't have a placement because you scored so high. No takers? No? Okay. Usually, this always happens, so do not panic. The majority of the students who take this assessment always place a transitional math. It's like our #1 placement. It is also the lowest math that you can place at Oxnard College. So usually this is where I get the, what? Lowest, but I'm in calculus, or I'm in algebra 2, I'm in integrated math 3. Why am I in transitional math? I'll give you the #1 answer. How many of you guys studied for the test? One. How long did you practice? A month and a half ago? But you practice every day? And you still place transitional math? Okay, we're gonna look closely at yours. How many of you guys studied? No one, right? Most of you showed up with your bright faces in the morning because we knew you were gonna be here for SOAR week. You showed up bravely to the test. You started seeing problems that you probably have not seen in a while. How many of you guys are taking something higher than algebra 2 for math? Or integrated math 2 or 3? Or pre-calculus? Okay, if you are in something higher than integrated math 2, integrated math 3, pre-calculus, or algebra 2, transitional math 1 should not be where you should place. But a lot of you guys place there because you didn't study. What happens when you don't study for a test? You failed. You don't do so well, right? So the good news is that you guys have several options. If you don't like your placement for math, you can always reassess. And I will be the very first one to tell you, do not reassess without studying. I myself took the assessment, and I did it the way that you guys did it this morning. I said, well, this test can't really be that difficult, come on. And I went all the way to calculus in college. And I was like, I got this. I showed up to the test, right? The test, the way that it starts with basic math and pre-algebra. If you haven't done basic math and pre-algebra in a very long time, like I had it, you're probably looking at the test and you're like, what in the world are they asking me? I have no idea what this is. I literally only got maybe through like 8 questions, and then the test automatically stopped me, and it placed me in transitional math. Then, of course, we tell you you're supposed to study because you're going to do better. So that's exactly what I did. I actually took the practice test. I actually did tutoring because you guys can actually go to the tutoring here, the tutoring center, and it's free, even though you're not students officially of Oxford College, and you guys can get help with your math so that you guys can do better. So I did that, took the test again a month later, and I placed in transferable math. So I do know that it works, but you have to study. And you cannot just say, well, I studied 2 days before. Yay, that's gonna work. It's not gonna work. So if you only study 2 days, you're like barely scratching the surface of material you haven't seen. But if you do study and you generally try, you really should be placing in something higher. Granted, you've seen this material. Now, what if I have placed in transitional math, but the highest math that I've only done in high school is Algebra 1, geometry, practical math, or business calculations? If that's the only math you've done, transitional math is a good placement. Then you want to start there. Why do you want to start transitional math? Although it's the lowest math at Oxnard College, it's self-paced, meaning you can work at your own pace, you're not rushing, but it is computerized. So you only see the instructor for 50 minutes per week, and then you are expected to do work on the computer for 9 hours. 3 of which you have to do here at our library, which is right across this hill. So you basically have tutors there and instructors there all the time. So you do have a support system. And you can move through they call them modules, but they're like chapters. You can move through the modules very, very fast. And we have had students who ends up being more of a refresher course for them before they move on to intermediate algebra, and they finish both of them in half a semester. I have a student right now that she hadn't seen math in a long time. She wanted to start a transitional math. And I was like, we can go through water. She's like, no, I really feel like I need to remember this material. She went through both of the modules, both of transitional math 1 and 2, and she's gonna get into intermediate algebra for the summer. So it can be done. But if you have done something higher, like I mentioned at the beginning, algebra 2, integrated math, and you've successfully done these classes, meaning you've gotten C's, you've gotten B's, you've gotten A's, and you have an overall good GPA in high school, then when the counselors and myself look through your profile and through your counseling, through your session, then we can discuss maybe placing you in a higher math. We also have a class in the summer that Gloria was mentioning for those of you who feel like, so maybe I haven't done higher math, but I don't want to start a transitional math. You guys can also take that class in summer and then be able to get into a higher math, which you'll be able to be assessed, and then place into a higher math for fall. Okay? So there's 2 ways that you can start the sequence for math here. You can either go a transitional math route, which we kind of discussed a little bit, in algebra 11. So math 11 is elementary algebra, which again, if you haven't done anything higher than algebra 1 in geometry, this could also be a good placement for you. This class is a face-to-face, but it is a 5-unit class. So you are going to be expected to do a lot more work. But you do have an instructor there. So if you know math is really a subject that you struggle with, you do not like, and you know that you need someone face-to-face, make sure you talk to us when we're individually meeting with you during the counseling session and say, look, I know I should be in transitional math and I place in transitional math, but math is really not my strongest subject. I don't think I would do well on the computer. Is there any way that I can talk about maybe going into elementary algebra and starting there? Okay? When you complete transitional math 2 or math 11, you will then either do math 14 or math 32, which is intermediate algebra. Math 14 is going to be recommended for those of you who are thinking of going into a very STEM-related field. So students who are thinking about going either into engineering, pre-med, biology, pre-pharmacy, pre-vet, any of those fields, we want to make sure that you take the more challenging intermediate algebra class, which is the 5-unit math 14 class. For those of you who are not thinking of going into that field, who are thinking maybe I want to go into teaching, I want to do preschool, I want to do nursing, I want to do sociology, I want to do psychology, we want you to do math 32, which is intermediate algebra for non-STEM majors. Because this is a little bit less of a challenging intermediate algebra class, and it's meant to prepare you more for the field that you're going to be going into a possible career. Questions? If you're only going to complete your associate's degree, then this will be the highest math that you're gonna be completing, the math in the green boxes. So either math 14 or math 32. You do not need to do anything higher than that. But if you're planning to transfer, then you will have to complete one of the math courses in the blue box. So one of the math courses that are 100 level. That math course is going to be based on your individual major. For example, someone who is going to go into engineering, mechanical engineering, they need a lot of math and a lot of physics. Someone who's going to go into that field is going to do math 115, which is knowledge algebra, math 116, which is trigonometry, math 120, which is calculus 1, math 121, which is calculus 2, math 122, which is calculus 3, math 134, which is linear algebra, and math 143, which is differential equations. If I'm going to go into nursing, all the math that I'm going to do is math 105, elementary statistics. So you want to make sure you're talking to the counselor to make sure you're taking the right math. You do not want to take a math class and then find out that's not the correct math and then end up having to take something else. Questions? Did any of you guys bring your transcript with you today? Perfect. So make sure that you let the counselor know. And if for whatever reason you did not bring your transcript with you today, you guys have your phone. You guys can also log on into your My View, and then you can show the counselor on your phone your grades. That also would be an option. Or you guys can always come back tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, of the week, and you guys can come in and show your transcript. Okay? Yes.
Is it what, or is it?
No, so this week, because we're catering to helping and servicing you guys as seniors in high school, you guys can come in any of those days. You can just check in at the front and then we'll help you there. Okay? Anything else? Yes.
On the map,
Uh-huh.
right there, these, is it all three we have to take or?
No, so typically you only take one. It's only certain majors that you end up taking a little bit more. So for example, like the engineering students, they take like every month under the sun at Oxnard College. So it is a little bit different. So that's why it's important that you guys come in and check with us to make sure we're putting you on the right track and then you're not taking unnecessary classes. Anything else? No? We also want to make sure we make you aware of prerequisites and prerequisites. So when you guys start signing up for classes, you guys are going to notice on the schedule of classes, there is this little blue link right next to the class that says prereq and correct. When you see that, always click on it because it's a little link that will generate a box, and that box will tell you if this class has a prerequisite or a prerequisite. What's a prerequisite? It's on the board. Yes, a prerequisite is a class you have to take before the class that you want to take. So basically, one of the examples that we have is like math 105, which is elementary statistics, has a prerequisite of intermediate algebra, which would be either math 14 or math 32. Now, what's a prerequisite?
Of course, you're required to take simultaneously.
I love you guys know how to read. It makes me so happy. Yes, a prerequisite is a class you have to take at the same time as a class you're currently taking. One of the best examples that we have is a health class, which is Health 102. Health 102 requires that you take another class, the lab portion to the health class, at the same time. You can't enroll in one and not the other. Sometimes with the science classes that may be the case, but typically it's not. So this is one of the best examples that we have. Both of these classes, Health 102 and Health 102 Lab, actually will give you credit for your PE and your health requirement if you're hoping to get an associate's degree from us. If you need to clear a prerequisite or prerequisite with our office, please make sure that you come directly to the counseling office to fill out a form that you will go ahead and allow you to clear for that, okay? Typically, you always have to bring a transcript as proof that you have met the prerequisite. So make sure that you guys are aware of what you're going to need to bring so that when you come and drop it off to the counseling office, you guys can get that taken care of. Okay? So we'll go through these kind of rather quickly. So these are just educational options that you guys have here at Oxnard College. So at OC, you can complete a certificate of achievement, an associate's degree, or you can transfer. If you want to do a certificate of achievement, these are basically a specific set of classes that they do not require general education classes. The only classes you take is for that specific field. One of the best examples that we have is, for example, dental assisting. So we have a dental assisting associate's degree, but if you want to start only with a certificate, you will only take the dental assisting classes for 1 year, and you have to start in the fall for dental assisting. It only starts in the fall. You take classes in the fall, you take classes in the spring, and you are done. The biggest requirement is you have to pass all these classes with a C or better. Then, if you want to continue on to get an associate's degree, if we offer an associate's degree in that field, then you can do your general education classes in the following term. You can always take classes at the same time if you want, but that's just always an option. We also offer addictive disorders. We offer fire technology, culinary arts, automotive technology. So those are different certificates that we offer at Oxnard College.
For the culinary program, that's associate, right?
Yes, so the culinary arts program is an associate, and some students decide to start with a certificate, and then they decide to work with it towards the associate's degree because they want to start working.
So they would get both of them then?
You can get both, yes, so you can get the certificate first, and then you can get your associate's degree. Questions? No? Okay. So for the associate's degree, this one is a little bit different. So you do need 60-degree applicable units. Not every class that you take at Oxnard College may be degree applicable. For example, if you do start math and transitional math 1, that does not apply to your degree. So those would be 4 units that you're not going to have counted towards your 60. So you want to make sure that you're also aware of that. You also would be required to complete English 101, like I mentioned when we went over your English form, and either Math 14 or Math 32. Now, how do you get to your 60? To get to your 60, you're going to have to do general education classes, plus classes in either your major or an emphasis if you're doing a degree in general studies. So if you guys look in your folder, at this end of your folder, you're going to go ahead and see this paper, salmon looking color one. That's gonna say IDETSI, certification plan, CSUGE. And this one that could either be kind of like a beige color or yellow. And it's gonna say Oxford College General Education Requirements. So it could either be yellow or it could either be beige. And it's kind of towards the end. I think for most of you, that's the beige. Do you have that for everybody? I think it's like if you go closer to the front. That. Perfect. So for your associates, like I said before, you need general education classes. Your general education classes are going to come from here, from the Oxnard College General Education pattern. If you only follow this pattern, it's not going to give you 60 units. It'll give you probably like about a half. And the other half are going to come from your major or from a specific pattern if you're only doing general education studies because you're still unsure about your major. Make sense? You do need to have a 2.0 GPA, meaning all your classes have to be with a C or better. And you do have to apply for the certificate or the associate's degree with a counselor in your last semester. Make sense? Perfect. Now for transfer, you need 60 transferable units. Not every class that you take is going to be transferable. For example, Math 14 is the class that you're required to get what? You're required to get a C, but it also you're required for what degree? For the associates, Math 14 or Math 32 are degree applicable, but they do not transfer to the university. So you again need to make sure that you're seeing us every semester so that we can make sure that you're on track. Now, to transfer, you are gonna need 60 transferable units, half of which are gonna come from your general education pattern. Depending on where you transfer, you are either gonna follow the I get C pattern for your GE, or the CSU general education pattern. So depending on where you transfer, we will recommend which pattern to follow. The other half of your units are gonna come from your major. It is very, very important that you guys have a major in mind by the time that you transfer, because the majority of the universities do not allow you to transfer as undecided or undeclared. The only universities that would typically allow you to transfer undecided or undeclared or with not having 60 units completed are typically private universities. And they allow you to do that because they are very, very expensive. So if you don't mind paying $50,000, $60,000, and $70,000 to take the same classes that you probably would be able to take at Oxnard College, it's all fine by us. You can transfer, but you have to be very careful because universities will say, of course, we'll take you, of course, come right in. But you're basically gonna pay like $7,000 for a class and you could have only paid like $150 here. And it's the exact same class. So be very careful about that. And then the other transfer route that you have is a new route that is the associate's degree for transfer. Very similar to the requirements to just transfer. You also would follow, you need to complete 60 transferable units, but this one in particular is only for specific majors. So if you are interested in maybe doing this, because you're thinking about transferring to a California State University, then please make sure you discuss that with the counselor, okay? And then you can skip this whole line. So then the one thing I will say about this particular slide is when you're deciding to either come part-time or full-time, please make sure that you guys take into consideration the other things that you have going on in your life. How many of you guys are thinking you're going to start full-time? Part-time? Okay. Do you guys understand the differences of full-time versus part-time? The number of units. Yes. So if you're thinking about coming in full-time, that means that you're taking 12 units or more to be full-time. When you're part-time, you're taking about 6 units. Unlike high school, 12 units is going to basically be about 3 to 4 classes depending on the classes that you're taking. And you're not here every day, like Gloria was mentioning to you guys at the beginning. Part-time, you only take about 2 classes. And what we recommend is that if you're working more than 20 hours, then yes, let's talk about doing part-time. But if you're working 20 hours or less, then we should definitely think about doing full-time, at least for 1 semester so you guys can try it out. The less units that you take every semester, the longer that it's going to take you to complete your goal. So we do want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. Of course, if you have to work, you have other responsibilities, we want to make sure that you go at a little bit slower pace to be successful and you're not overloading units. But if you're not working more than 20 hours, and you do have that capability to be able to take full-time classes, then we want to make sure that we try to get you to do that. Okay? Why do we want to make sure you guys understand this? For every 1 unit that you guys take at Oxnard College, which are 4 part, whatever you guys take, you are going to be expected to be in class for 1 hour, or if it's a lab class for one of your sciences, it's going to be 3 hours. That means that, for example, if you guys were to sign up for Math 14, the intermediate algebra class that's required for your associates to get into the transferable math classes, that's a 5-unit class. That means that you're going to be in class 5 hours per week. Which it may not seem like a lot, because you guys are in class for math 5 hours per week, right? Because you have math every single day, and you have it for like about 50 minutes. Now, why we want to make sure we highlight this is because of the next line. So, every class instructor that you have plans their syllabus with the assumption that for every unit and for every class that you are going to be in their class, that you're going to be expected to study 2 hours outside of class. So when they give you the amount of reading, they have this in mind. They know that you should be studying 2 hours outside of class for every 1 hour that you're in there. That means that to be successful, in, for example, Math 14, you're going to be in class how many hours? 5. How many hours is the instructor expecting you to study? 10. So if you add the 5 and the 10, how many hours is that instructor realistically expecting you to dedicate to this one class? 15. Every instructor does that. And you guys will realize and start noticing that when you start going to classes, you're gonna be like thinking like, is this instructor think that I'm only taking their class because of the amount of reading or the amount of homework they give you? So when we're creating your schedule, we wanna make sure you guys are aware of this and you're not like, I need to try to leave Oxnard College in the next 2 years, 1 year if possible, and you need to give me as many units as you possibly can. Because you're basically asking us, set me up for failure. And we don't want that. If you're capable of taking 15 units, 16 units, then for sure we're gonna discuss it. But we wanna make sure that the classes we're recommending are classes that you guys are gonna have a good balance with and that you're gonna be able to do well. Because the goal is for us not to get you out of here as soon as possible. The goal is for us to get you to your next step, whether that's gonna be transferring to UCLA, transferring to Ventura for the nursing program, or transferring somewhere else for a specific program, and we want you to get in. We don't want you to just barely make it. We want to make sure that you guys are doing well and are competitive enough, and more importantly, that we're academically preparing you to go into these classes. Questions? So this is basically what it will look like. If you come in part-time, you really realistically should be expecting to dedicate about 18 hours to school. That's going to be attending class and studying. If you're going to be coming in full-time, you should realistically know that we're looking at about 36 hours that you're going to be dedicating between coming to school and studying for classes. I'm not going to lie, some of your classes are going to take a little bit more than the 2 hours. Like especially if you have that one subject that is just like very, very difficult and it's a struggle. Like for me, it's history. Math and science, I'm good. 2 hours and I probably would do well. History, on the other hand, I feel like I have to read the material like 5 times before I can actually understand what they're talking about. For you, it may be math, or it may be English. So know that that time is just kind of an estimate, and it may either be more, or it may be a little bit less, depending on your potential and your skills, okay? So, yeah, I'm just gonna, if you wanna just wait there. One of the biggest things we wanna make sure you guys are aware is that if you do not do well in classes, meaning you do not pass them with a C or better, or you withdraw from the class because you don't think you were gonna do well, or you didn't like the instructor, you guys can possibly end an academic or progress probation. Academic probation basically relates to you not being able to have a cumulative GPA of a 2.0. Progress probation basically means that you're not completing 50% of the classes that you're signing up for. We do take you through different levels of probation. And what each level does is it starts limiting you on the number of units that you can register for. As a student in good academic standing, that means that you're passing all your classes with a C or better, 2.0 cumulative GPA, and you're completing more than 50% of the classes you're signing up for. As a student in good academic standing, we allow you to sign up for 19.5 units, which is not a good idea for everyone. Now, if you drop to academic probation or progress probation 1, you go from 19.5 12. Then if you drop to academic or progress probation 2, we drop you to 6. Then, if that still doesn't work and you're still not able to do well academically, and typically there's other things going on in your life, we actually dismiss you. Basically, we kick you out. So you want to make sure that you know about this because it also will affect your financial aid for those of you who are applying for financial aid. Okay, so please make sure that you guys are aware of that. And then we're going to skip, we talk about this. You also do have only 3 chances. Make sure you completely, that you successfully pass a class that you haven't been able to pass. So please make sure you guys are aware of that because after your 3rd attempt, we basically ask you to go outside of our district. So you would either have to go to SBCC up in Santa Barbara, Pierce College down south, or COC College of the Canyons to be able to take that same class. Okay? So be very careful when you're planning to withdraw classes or you're not doing well. Please come see an academic counselor right away. We're all here to help you guys out. So Gloria mentioned a few resources. For those of you that are thinking of going into a STEM-related field, please make sure that you guys take advantage of the STEM Center. The STEM Center is like right next door to us right here, and you can sign up and they have tons of resources and services. Besides them, all of us here on campus are here to help you guys out, but you need to make sure you let us know you need help. None of us are psychics yet. So if we see you, we can't read your mind. We don't know that you need help. You need to be able to tell us and say, look, I'm really struggling in math, where do I go? Or I'm really having like a lot of drama with my family, my boyfriend, whatever it is, can I talk to someone? Let us know because we're all here to help you and we want you to be successful. The biggest thing is you're not alone in this whole thing. So we're here, but you need to tell us how we can help you, okay? And these are classes that we want to make sure you guys think about for your first term. Especially, can you go back to it? Personal growth classes are really, really great classes to take your first semester. And more than likely, we usually always recommend for you to take one because they're really great classes to introduce you to how different classes are from high school to college. Best thing about these classes is that they're taught by counselors. So if you guys have questions, concerns about your plan, about what you should do next, you have a resource right there with your instructor because they're a counselor. And all of these classes transfer and they apply to your degree. So it's a really great resource where you get to learn about how do I transfer. What should I do about my career? If you're not sure what you want to do career-wise or major-wise, PG 101 is a great class to do career exploration, to figure it out. How do I get from doing these things that I really like to matching it up to something that I can do for the rest of my life? Or I'm thinking maybe about doing this and this, but I'm still not sure. Can I go here? So that class is really great. 102 is a really great introduction to time management, study skills, note-taking, and just college in general. So definitely consider taking those classes because they're really great resources for you to take, okay? So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna actually have our 2 counselors, America and Charles, go ahead and meet individually with you guys to do your educational plan. So you guys are gonna do your ed plan. The biggest thing about this is not your registration. So we're not signing you up for classes. You will keep this and hold on to this either to April 25th if you're taking classes in summer, or July 11th if you're signing up for fall. So if you're registering on July 11th, we are actually going to go ahead and follow up with you guys during the month of June to invite you guys for a registration event that we're going to have here on campus. That's where we are actually going to help you register for whatever the counselor recommended. But these are only recommendations that we're making for you, okay? Do ask questions, especially if you're looking into changing your math or English placement because you may not like where you placed. Then during the month of August, we want you to come back because we're gonna have an event for new students, which is gonna be the new student conference where you guys can get to meet other new students that are gonna be starting at Oxnard College. You can get to sign up for clubs. We're gonna teach you. There's gonna be raffles, and there's also gonna be some prizes for students who attend, who may potentially be like book vouchers, computers, different things. So please make sure that you definitely check your email, because we are gonna go ahead and email you, and we're gonna notify you anything about going on to campus through your MyBCCD email. How many of you guys have set up your portal? Did you guys have your email forwarded to a personal email? Perfect. If you have not, before you guys leave, stop at the Welcome Center, because I know for most of you, you probably are not gonna ever log on to your MyBCCD to check it. But if you have a Yahoo account, a Gmail, something that you use more often, please have everything forwarded there, especially for financial aid, because financial aid will only forward your information or email you about anything to your MyBCCD. And you don't want to miss any deadlines, okay? Any questions before?
The PE classes,
Yeah.
are those required to transfer or they're just elective?
They're more of an elective, but they're really good classes to kind of like combine in your first semester. Because your first semester, we don't want you to freak out. We don't want you to start taking all hardcore classes where you're gonna have tons of reading, tons of homework. We want your first semester to be more of a transition semester. So that's why we combine certain classes. And the counselors can individually let you know which classes those will be for you. So depending on your major, depending on what other things you're doing after school. Okay. Anything else? No? So this is Charles, this is America. Both wonderful counselors that are going to help you with recommendations.
And then just so you know, PE is required for some of our degrees here, so some of our degrees you have to take PE, so it's good to take it. It's good GPA booster because it will transfer with you for pretty much wherever you go, so good way to bring your GPA, get you kind of easier units. And then once they have their conversation done.
Yeah, so once you guys have your ed plan, unless you have like final questions for your financial aid or anything, you guys can either go back to the Welcome Center or you guys can come back the rest of the week, because we're going to be doing the same thing tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday.